With yesterday's official departure of Bradford City midfielder Jenson Metcalfe and the heavily rumoured links that Bradford City are potentially replacing him with Adam Phillips, in today's video we're going to go through and compare both players. Is this the right choice by Bradford City? Are we going to be playing Adam Phillips out of position? How do you get the best out of the current Barnsley man? By the time this video comes out, that deal could have officially gone over the line, but it is clear for all to see that Bradford City clearly need to go out and sign some midfielders. Over on the main channel, I've done a video breaking down 5 potential options that we could sign to replace Metcalfe if for whatever reason the Phillips deal collapses, or just a little bit of a conversation about potential midfield targets. But if you do go on to enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 200 likes on today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below on this potential signing, the departure of Metcalfe, and do you think this is the perfect replacement? Let's waste no further time and get straight into it. Having a look at Bradford City's squad, in an ideal world, this is how I would have liked us to line up for next season, with Jenson Metcalfe as the number 6. You bring in another couple of midfielders, you've got Phillips and Sarcevic really rotating, but obviously Jenson Metcalfe has left at Bradford City, and it does seem quite likely with Phillips coming in that he's actually not going to play as an attacking midfielder, and he's going to play in that role where Jenson Metcalfe was. And for me, I don't think this is how you get the best out of Adam Phillips. You ask most Barnsley fans and they will tell you his best position is as an attacking midfielder. If you play him off the right, you don't get the best out of him. If you're playing deeper as a holding midfielder, again, you don't necessarily get the best out of him. And I can understand the point of view of we needed more goals from midfield, and I certainly agree with that. Max Power failed to score. Jenson Metcalfe, while both his goals were absolute stunners, it was only 2 across a full season. Patterson was only here until January and he only managed 1. Same can be said about Tommy Lee as well, in terms of he was also only here until January, and again, he only managed 1 goal as well. Adam Phillips, you look at his output at Barnsley and even Morecambe before that over the last 4 or 5 years, always guaranteed 15 to 20 goal contributions every single season, and that's without playing and starting every single match. I think Bradford City are obviously paying 300-400 grand to get him to come to the football club to do that, come in now and score goals. And again, I would like to see Phillips played a little bit further forward, but you're looking at the potential options that Bradford City have got as of right now, and I do think it makes the most sense for as of right now to be playing Adam Phillips in that position. But like I've mentioned over on the main channel where I'm talking about potential transfer targets, I do think there are other players who can score goals from central midfield that are better suited to that than Adam Phillips, who I think defensively can switch off a little bit at times. As good as he is going forward, you ask a lot of Barnsley fans and they'll tell you their midfield has switched off a lot defensively over the last couple of years, and Phillips has been part of that. Luke O'Connell, another one of those as well. Phillips, by what I've seen from some Barnsley fans, has been described as a little bit lazy. Can we afford that in central midfield, or will Alexander not allow that and coach out of him? I guess only time will tell, but it certainly looks like Adam Phillips is going to play in that Jenson Metcalfe role as of right now. So let's have a look then and compare between both players' 25-26 campaign, where Jenson Metcalfe played largely as a number 8 for Bradford City, and Adam Phillips, to be fair, actually played largely as a right winger for Barnsley, but again, he's definitely not going to come in and play as a winger. In terms of the form between the two players, Adam Phillips ended the season a lot better than what Metcalfe did. 3 ratings there according to SofaScore, all 7 or higher, and Jenson Metcalfe in his final few games failed to score a single 7 rating, which is good news that Phillips is obviously coming in on good form, and we've obviously got a great fee in for Jenson Metcalfe. Again, I've made all my thoughts clear on how great of a player that Metcalfe is, but clearly he didn't end the season as well as what we would have all liked Jenson Metcalfe to do. Firstly, we'll compare the heat maps between the two players, and I think it's fair to say that Metcalfe's is much more balanced, given that he was playing in a more central role. That does obviously make a lot more sense. Phillips, we've been playing largely as a right winger. Again, it makes more sense why his heat map is a lot stronger down the right hand side. You can actually see here that he was very, very prominent in taking attacking in-swinging corners, which I guess is good news because our set pieces last season were pretty poor, and Adam Phillips certainly is a very good ball striker. They actually played played a similar amount of football last campaign. If we get up both of these players' stats, as we can see last season, then the left is Jenson Metcalfe and right is Adam Phillips. That is very important that we remember. Phillips played 2 more games, but Metcalfe started 2 more matches. However, Phillips played a lot more minutes last season, 111 minutes more than Metcalfe last campaign, despite Metcalfe averaging 1 more minute per game. So they have played a very similar amount of football, and if they're going to play the same position, there is certainly a lot for us to compare. So first we'll start out with some of the goal scoring statistics between both of these players. So Phillips, he managed 7 more goals last season than Jenson Metcalfe. Phillips outperformed his XG by 1.57 and Metcalfe underperformed his XG by 1.71. So straight away from a goal scoring aspect, Adam Phillips is going to bring a lot more to this Bradford City side than what Jenson Metcalfe did. In terms of goal conversion rate, Phillips had a 16% shot to goal conversion rate, whereas Jenson Metcalfe only had a 3% shot conversion rate, which again is obviously not great. Phillips did miss slightly more chances. He missed 5 more than Metcalfe last campaign, but it's clear for all to see that Phillips is a much better finisher, much better goal scorer. And again, goals, especially from midfield, was something that Bradford City massively did like last campaign. Let's compare the passing between both of these players then. Obviously, it is very important in the Graham Alexander system that you are good at hitting those channel balls. Again, you look at the assist catalogue. Adam Phillips registered 5 assists last season for Barnsley, creating chances. Jenson Metcalfe failed to register a single assist. Yes, I guess you could put that down to the teammates a little bit at times, where Metcalfe, obviously, he did underperform his expected assists, but that's not really down to him. That is more down to the finishing of his teammates. And Adam Phillips, again, he overperformed his expected assists. Phillips gets on the ball a little bit more than Metcalfe. He averages nearly 3 more touches than Metcalfe every single game. Jenson Metcalfe created 1 big chance, whereas Phillips created 8 big chances. In terms of key passes, which is, I think, a chance creating shot action, whatever the specific terminology is, Jenson Metcalfe again averaged 0.4 of them, whereas Adam Phillips averaged 1 of them per game. So everything again is pushing towards Adam Phillips. Obviously, you've got to factor in the age. Jenson Metcalfe, I think, is 7 years younger than Phillips. So by the time that Metcalfe is 28, again, I would heavily expect Metcalfe to be playing and be a very comfortable Premier League player by that point. But in terms of the players as of right now, what we're looking at here, it's clear for all to see that Adam Phillips is going to bring more offensively than Jenson Metcalfe. Now, nearly every metric so far has been in favour of Adam Phillips, but obviously defensively, these is where the question marks are over Adam Phillips. Can he play in that box-to-box midfield role? Well, again, let's compare between the two players. Last season then, Jenson Metcalfe averaged 0.4 interceptions per game. Phillips averaged more with 0.6, but Jenson Metcalfe averaged 2 tackles per game, whereas Phillips only averaged 0.6. They both won the same amount of possession in the final third with 0.4. In terms of balls recovered, Jenson Metcalfe averaged more with 4.2, whereas Adam Phillips only averaged 2.9. In terms of dribbled pass per game though, Jenson Metcalfe was 0.8, whereas Adam Phillips was only 0.4, and that's one of those stats where you actually want a lower number rather than a higher one. Adam Phillips averaged slightly more clearances per game with 1.1 compared to Jenson Metcalfe's 1, and again slightly more blocked shots per game with 0.2 compared to Jenson Metcalfe's 0.1, but again we're talking very, very fine margins here. In terms of errors which led to a shot, Jenson Metcalfe had 3, where Adam Phillips only had the 1. Neither player had an error leading to a goal, and neither player did commit a penalty offence, so they are very similar here. Metcalfe averages more tackles and more balls recovered per game, but apart from that, we are talking some very similar numbers here defensively. But again, offensively, as of right now, Adam Phillips is going to bring a lot more to this Bradford City side. In terms of the dribble stats then, Jenson Metcalfe blows away Adam Phillips here with a 15% successful dribble rate better, and in terms of the duel stats as well, Metcalfe absolutely blows away Adam Phillips. Metcalfe wins 55% of his ground duels, whereas Adam Phillips only wins 37% of his ground duels. In terms of aerial duels, again, Metcalfe far far superior in this role. He wins 60% of his aerial duels, where Adam Phillips only wins 45% of his aerial duels. So that is a little bit of a concern. Possession lost is very similar. Metcalfe is 12, Adam Phillips is 12.2. Fouls per game, Metcalfe does slightly more with 1.2 compared to Phillips and 0.8. And then was fouled per game, again Metcalfe was fouled a lot more than Adam Phillips. 1.2 was fouled per games, whereas Adam Phillips was only 0.4. In terms of discipline as well, finally, Jenson Metcalfe a little bit worse than Phillips in this role. Obviously, Metcalfe got 7 yellows, Adam Phillips only got 3, and neither player did receive any red cards. So what are your thoughts then? Going forward, Adam Phillips clearly going to bring you a lot more in terms of goals, assists, chance creation, all that sort of stuff. Defensively, actually pretty similar, bar the odd 1 or 2 stats that Metcalfe does edge, but in terms of dribbles and duels, Jenson Metcalfe is far superior, and I think we can all sit here and say that by the time Jenson Metcalfe is 28 and he's a regular starter for a Premier League side and probably even playing for England by that point as well, I really do think his ceiling is that high. Then this obviously is not a conversation to be had, but in terms of as of right now, Adam Phillips I do believe can play that role for Bradford City. I wasn't so convinced at the start of today's video, but looking at the comparison and looking at the stats, if Jenson Metcalfe was able to do it to such a high level last season, there's no reason why Adam Phillips can't. If he just gets a little bit better in terms of winning those duels and obviously playing a bit more of a defensive position, he's going to have a bit more defending to do, then hopefully he can really thrive in that role for Bradford City and still get those 15 to 20 goal contributions going forward from holding midfield. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there then for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Can we try and hit 200 likes as I said at the start of today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Let me know down below, what do you think is the best position for Adam Phillips to play in a Graham Alexander system, and do you think Adam Phillips is the perfect man to replace Jenson Metcalfe? If you don't forget to go over to the main channel and check out my 5 potential replacements for both Metcalfe and Power that Bradford City must sign this summer. Apart from that, thank you all for watching, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon for another one.